evening, everyone, and welcome to the Morehouse Tiger Talks Tuesday session. It's titled Applying to Morehouse 101, Five Things That You Need to Know. And I'll be your moderator today. So I am Candace Bazemore. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy and Transformation here in the office of the Admissions Office. And joining us tonight, we have three different speakers. The first one will be Dr. Kendrick Brown, our Provost, and he's also the Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs and a Professor of Psychology. We'll also have Decatur Poitier, and he is the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admissions, Recruitment, and Strategic Partnerships, as well as Alvin Conte, and he is the Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment, as well as our Athletics Liaison. But before we dive into the presentation, I want to make sure that you guys know a little bit about Morehouse. So Morehouse College is one of the nation's oldest HBCUs. We've been around for for over 157 years. And Morehouse has been in the business of preparing young men to change the world through leadership and service, driven by innovation, technology, global cultural dexterity, and a liberal arts foundation of knowledge and pillars of the community. Morehouse is a community with a mission to develop men with disciplined minds who will lead lives of leadership and service. And of course, Morehouse College, again, is the nation's oldest historically Black college, private college that is focused on educating men. And so, in the topics that are going to be covered in this session tonight, we're going to talk about the different types of applications, as well as application options and deadlines. We're also going to talk about the application requirements and what materials you need to have for your application to be complete. We'll go over the submission, things that will help you, stand out in the process, as well as some extras that will help you really understand what Morehouse can do for you, and also introduce you to the people that'll be helping you along this process. Now, we won't only just be talking to you, you'll have a chance to actually ask us a few questions. So there will be a Q&A after our presentation. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, familiarize yourself with the layout of the Zoom. And what you'll be looking for is the tab that says Q&A. It's underneath in the presenter tab. And you just would, click on Q&A. You might need to click on more options or the three dots, just in case you have like a reduced screen, to see the tab that says Q&A. And that's where you'll enter your questions. And so be sure to ask whatever you like, anything related to the topic at hand or anything related to the admissions and enrollment process. The people that'll be on the call tonight are experts in this area, so feel free to ask away, but make sure that you drop your questions in the Q&A tab. All right, and now, without further ado, let me go ahead and turn this over to Dr. Brown, who's our provost, and he has a special message for all of you.
Good evening, and I'm so glad that you are here and joining us. I have the distinct honor of welcoming you to this event, and I want to welcome you on behalf of our 13th president, Dr. F. Du Bois Bowman, who just began just a little over a month ago. And I also want to welcome you on behalf of our faculty and staff. We have a very committed group of professionals who are dedicated to ensuring that our students have every opportunity to learn, whether it's in the classroom or outside of the classroom. I'm going to share something with you which I hope will make a lot of sense. Morehouse is a very special place. Just as it was shared with you a little bit earlier, we have been doing what we do for well over 157 years. We're a place of outstanding academics, of social justice, and definitely of community with our students, community with our staff, community with our faculty, community as a part of Atlanta and a part of the world. We are a place of leadership and service. We have outstanding alums who've gone into the world and are doing incredible things. And we have wonderful men of Morehouse who are here right now doing incredible things, whether they are freshmen or seniors. I appreciate that you're joining us and you want to know more. You want to know more about Morehouse. You want to know more about our liberal arts education, which is the foundation of the academics here, and allow for a breadth and a depth of knowledge that prepare you for lifelong learning and to go out into the world and be an outstanding citizen. As you know, we have a special focus on Black men, educating Black men and men of color. We do that by offering incredible experiential opportunities, for instance, studying abroad, internships, working within labs, operating within studios. We have a range of experiences that enable students to develop on a trajectory that works best for them. So tonight, of course, my colleagues will be sharing a lot of information with you. I will ask that you will be open to the information and that importantly, you ask a lot of questions. I see some questions are starting to appear. That is very good. We want more. We want to give you a chance to ask and we want to get a chance to respond to you. I will say Morehouse, of course, is a place that I consider to be one of the best professional experiences of my life. I've been a professional in higher education for about 28 years, and I can tell you that bar none, Morehouse offers so much, not just to our students, but to our community. And I sincerely hope you have the opportunity to join us and be part of this movement that is Morehouse. So welcome to you all. So glad to have you here. And please, by all means, engage, get the information, and join us as men of Morehouse. Thank you all so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Provost Brown. We appreciate you being here tonight. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the presentation about the application process and getting to know, what's the 101 to applying to Morehouse. So, like I said, we have Des Portier on, and Des is our Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions. And so, Des, I'm going to hand it over to you for you to, to guide these future Morehouse men through the process.
Thank you, Candace, and welcome to our first Tiger Talks of the year. We're going to talk a little bit about the application process. And here we go. So the Morehouse application can be found on our general website. You can visit morehouse.edu to apply to Morehouse College. Our Morehouse application is simple to fill out, basically putting your name, date of birth, etc. in there. You'll need to indicate your intended major and other important things that you want the school to know about. And of course, we do accept fee waivers. You have a couple different options in applying to Morehouse, and one of them is the Common App. The Common App is the single online college application form used for over 900 colleges and universities. Morehouse is Common App friendly, and you can apply to Morehouse through the Common App at www.commonapp.org. And the Common App itself is free use, but every college charges its own application processing fee. It can range from $30 all the way to $75. But Morehouse's common application fee is $50. We do accept fee waivers. Counselors are very comfortable utilizing the Common App since they don't have to worry about explaining it to students. Most students know and have heard it before. Once you fill out the requirements of the Common App, you will fulfill your requirements for Morehouse College. We also give the option to apply through the Black Common App. The Black Common App is a single online college application which allows students to apply to 67 different HBCUs nationwide. So Morehouse College is a Black Common App friendly school, and you can apply through the Black Common App. URL down there, Common App, blackcollegeapp.com. So let's talk a little bit about application options and deadlines. So what are the rounds? An application round is a set of application requirements paired with an application deadline. So application requirements are all set down document types that require you or wish you receive from the student applying to your college or institution. The application deadline is a deadline that you report for each specific round. Morehouse admissions rounds, let's talk about it. So the notification periods and deadlines. So choosing the right application plan between early decision, early action, and regular decision are all the three options that students have available to them this upcoming year. So let's talk about them. So first is early decision. Early decision is for students who know deep in their soul and their being that Morehouse is their first and number one choice. They are ready to commit to the house. So that deadline is November 1st, and we'll be notifying students before Christmas. We'll be notifying students by December the 5th. With early action, these are for students who want to apply early but aren't ready to make a final decision yet. They're not quite an early decision student, but they want to find out early from Morehouse College so they can apply early action. You have to submit that application by December the 15th, and we'll let you know just after the new year by January the 30th. And the last but not least is regular decision. Regular decision gives you more time to prepare, but less access to early benefits like early review of scholarships, early submission and review of your FAFSA information. That's not on the regular decision side, but it is offered the early decision, early action side. The deadline for regular decision is February 1, and you'll be notified by March 15th. So let's talk about ED. That's right, let's talk about early decision. This is the ideal option for students that have Morehouse as their first and only choice for a college education. Early decision plans are binding. That means a student who is accepted as an ED applicant must attend the college. You are committing to Morehouse and applying to the ED process if admitted. Typically, ED student acceptance rates are higher than the regular decision RD pool. That's right. Of the students that applied this past year, almost 71% were offered admission to the college. So ED students, by on average, are actually admitted at a higher rate compared to our other rounds. During the ED admissions plan, applicants agree to withdraw their applications to other colleges and plan to enroll at Morehouse if admitted. Again, the majority of students that applied ED and are accepted receive some form of merit-based aid or tuition discount after receiving their admissions decision. Early action, also called EA. Early applicants, they're applying early and they're receiving admissions decision early in the admission cycle, usually by January or February. They consider the acceptance offer, but do not have to commit upon receipt. They apply to other colleges under regular admission plans, and they give the college a decision no later than May 1, which is the national response date to submit your commitment deposit to any college or university. If not admitted during the early action process, the application will be deferred and considered along with the regular decision application. So if you apply early action, for whatever reason you're not admitted, you'll get deferred to our regular decision process at Morehouse College. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits between early action, EA, and early decision, ED. So when you're applying early action or early decision, there's less stress. Why? Because it reduces the stress by cutting the time spent waiting on a decision. When you apply early action, early decision, you're finding out earlier than ever. If you apply ED, you're finding out before Christmas. So you're not stressed about applying, getting essays done, meeting all the deadlines. You know that you've been admitted to Morehouse and you know that you've committed to this place. You can let everybody know that I'm going to the house. Number two, it saves time. It saves time and expense of submitting multiple applications. Who wants to go to the process of having to submit applications to 10, 15, in some instances, 20 schools? Because you're trying to figure out which one. When you apply early, you're able to find out early through EA. When you apply early decision, you're able to not only find out, but you're able to commit to the house by submitting your deposit much earlier. It gives you more time. Once accepted, you gain more time to look for housing, to prepare for your transition to college. You get reviewed for your financial aid earlier. You get considered and reviewed earlier for scholarship opportunities. So all the things that your parents or you may be stressing about, how am I going to get considered for scholarships? How am I going to go and take the placement exams to get ready to register for classes? When you apply early, you get early access and opportunities to get all those things done. And then more options. You get to reassess your options and apply elsewhere if not accepted. Say you apply early and for whatever reason it doesn't quite work out. You get that decision, you're able to go back into the field, apply to other institutions that may be the best fit for you. Regular decision. Vast majority of students apply through regular decision. Students can apply regular decision to as many schools as they'd like. With regular decision, deadlines are typically in early February, and it offers admissions are sent out in late March or even early April. This allows for more time to take or retake standardized tests, and it boosts grade point averages if that's something that you deem is necessary for you. The later deadline allows more time to complete and submit applications as well. So there are some benefits for students that are in that situation of needing to improve grades. They want to retake standardized test scores for consideration, or they just simply need more time to complete the application. Regular decision may be the best bet for that kind of student. So now I'm actually going to forward this on to my colleague, Mr. Alvin Conte, and he's going to talk a little bit about application requirements and materials.
Yeah, thank you very much, Des. So let's go over the application requirements for first-time freshmen. So these are the items needed for you to submit and complete your application file for review. First of all, our application fee. The application fee is non-refundable. We need your official high school transcript. Be mindful that we are not allowed to accept transcripts from applicants, so it must come from your school. We are test optional, but you have the option of submitting either your official SAT or your ACT score. And we also require 2 letters of recommendation. And then finally, there are 2 personal essays that are required within the application process, within your application, whether you apply via Common App, Morehouse.edu, or the Black Common App. So in terms of those non-refundable application fees, the application fee for the Morehouse app located at morehouse.edu is $30. The Common App application fee is $50. And the Common Black College app application fee is $20. So regarding your official high school transcript, official transcripts are sent directly from one school to another. It is usually watermarked and signed for authenticity, and unless in a digital format, it will be sent in an envelope that is specially stamped and sealed. It's generally your high school's counselor's responsibility to send official transcripts directly to the colleges of your choice. Make sure you make an appointment with your high school counselor as early as possible to learn how they submit official transcripts to institutions on time. And stay in consistent communication with your counselor throughout the application process. So we're often asked, does Morehouse have a GPA requirement? So the average GPA for students who apply to Morehouse via either early action or early decision is a 3.5 grade point average, and that is a weighted grade point average. As colleges evaluate students' academic performance throughout high school, they will look at their overall GPA and the individual grades that they received in their courses. However, high schools have different ways of calculating GPAs, including various weighting systems. An unweighted GPA does not take the difficulty of your classes into account. Each grade has a corresponding point value from 0 to 4 and takes the average across all of your courses. A weighted GPA is calculated based on the student's grades in AP, honors, or IB courses. Since these courses are considered more rigorous, the grade for each course is assigned an extra point or fraction of a point, therefore giving the course more weight in the student's GPA. So again, Morehouse is test optional. What does test optional mean? Applicants can choose whether to submit the SAT or ACT scores within their application. Morehouse does not have a test preference if an applicant desires to submit test scores. In regards to the average test scores for each standardized test, the average SAT for Morehouse applicants is an 1140, and the average ACT for our applicants is a 23. A question I often receive is, should I submit my test scores? If your test scores are in the following range or better, and these are the ranges of our average student profile. If your SAT score is 1140 or above, or your ACT score is 23 or above, I definitely recommend for you to submit your test scores. And note, you do not have to submit your test scores to be considered for merit-based scholarships. However, we have a few institutional scholarships that do require submission of test scores. An example of those scholarships are our STAMP scholarship, our presidential scholarship, and the Oprah Winfrey scholarship. Those three scholarships do require test scores to be submitted. Letters of recommendation are extremely important. These letters provide admission representatives with valuable information that's not always evident from your application alone. Letters of recommendation are a testament to your unique qualities, character, tenacity, academic successes, and personal achievements. Log into the Morehouse application portal to upload your letters of recommendation digitally. And I also want to add, make sure whoever you choose to be your recommender, make sure that you ask them in advance enough time so they can provide you a detailed recommendation. So recommenders can be your school counselor, your principal, a coach, teachers, a mentor, an employer, or someone else. But it's important that whoever you choose to be your recommender, that they can speak in detail about you, specifically about your character, your academic ability, and your leadership ability. Personal essays also are extremely important as well. 2 personal essays are required as part of our application process. And these essays are embedded within the application, whether you apply via Morehouse.edu, Common App, or the Black Common App. And the essay must be submitted in order for your application to be completed. Next, let's talk about submission of application materials. So materials must be submitted by the deadline to render an on-time decision. This is extremely important. We must have all of your required materials to be able to make a decision on your application. Make it a habit to check your Common App portal or status page to determine if you are missing materials. Our admissions team will communicate through the Morehouse applicant portal, so be sure to review and check your email frequently. And counselors can submit your application materials on your behalf. And Morehouse welcomes the submission of additional materials as desired. For example, a resume, additional letters of recommendation, additional essays, etc. So be sure to stay in contact with our family care manager or your assigned recruiter for additional assistance with submitting documents. Make sure that you proofread and review all documents for accuracy before submission. If you feel a little uncomfortable doing this, choose one of your counselor or a teacher to proofread and review all of your documents. Make sure we want to have you put your best foot forward in the application process. Adhere to the official process of sending documents to the college. Again, another reminder, we can only accept your official transcripts from your school. We cannot accept them directly from you. And then use your personal email for your college applications. Do not use your high school email address. So I am going to bring back our executive director, Mr. Des Portier, to discuss standing out in the application process.
All right, so let's talk about it, everybody. Let's talk about how you can stand out in your application process. So first, excellent academics. Morehouse is looking for students with strong grades, particularly in challenging courses. So what are those courses? If you're in an IB program, we want you taking those IB courses. If you have access to honors courses, we want you taking those courses too. If you have access to AP courses, we want you taking that, but then we don't stop there. Say your school does not offer all those 3 options, but there's a community college right around the corner or another college. We want you to push yourself to take some courses there. The number one thing for us is the student availing themselves to the options to take more rigorous courses. because it's not going to get any easier at Morehouse. So we want to know, is this student prepared to challenge themselves so that when they transition to this academic rigor at Morehouse, they're prepared to not only do well, but do exceptionally well. We want students that are well-rounded. So what does that mean? Morehouse is looking for students that possess qualities of resilience. Some people call that grit. Adaptability, that you're in different environments, you can adapt to those situations. Curiosity, you want to learn, you're willing to ask questions. A commitment to personal growth. You're trying to find ways to better yourself, not some of the time, all the time. In our office, our admissions officers are interested in understanding your unique experiences. What things have you overcome? What things have you dealt with? Your perspective in life, whether or not you have a different religious belief or coming from a different perspective with your family or circumstances. What challenges have you overcome? We want people that are strong enough to talk about that in their application so we can learn about that and be able to have a better sense of what you're bringing to our school community. And then last but not least, we want passion for learning. We value students who demonstrate a genuine passion and engagement beyond the classroom. So it's not just about what you're doing in the classroom and getting the best grades you can, but are you going beyond that? Are you taking advantage of the speakers on our campus or doing internships or externships that give you a chance to get a deeper understanding of the subject of the course that you're taking? These are the three things that we think that if you can show that in your application, you're going to stand out. So how do you separate yourself from other applicants? So your application should tell a narrative. I tell students and parents all the time, what is it about you that stands out? Is it your grit? Is it your tenacity? Is it what you've overcome? Is it that you're an exceptional student? Is it that you're an amazing band player? Is it something that, are you a student that really believes and wants to be engaged in athletics, but you're a student athlete? That should come out in your application through what your extracurricular activities, through your essays. We want to see that theme and that trend that helps us understand how you contribute to our community. Your application should speak about your abilities to persevere. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a dramatic thing that happened in your life. It means that say you were in a class that was really tough. You had to get a lower grade. And then after you received that lower grade, how did you respond? How do you articulate how you responded and what you did to get over that obstacle? Your application should pull the elevator into want and read. You want the evaluator to want to read more about you. So what does that mean? When you're writing your essay, you're dotting every I, you're crossing every T. If there's something unique in a story about you that you know that no one else understands or no one knows, but you know what's unique to you, you want to make sure that you articulate that and make that person on the other side of that computer screen reading your application say, I want to learn more about this young man. Wow, I can really see where he's coming from. Wow, I loved how he articulated that in his essay. And that pulls us in and it makes us look beyond grades, but more so looking at you as a person and what you would bring to our Morehouse community. And last but not least, we want to see these extracurricular activities. And we want them to be broad in nature, but we also want them to be about demonstrating your leadership and your personality and what you would bring to Morehouse. If you can really sum up all those things, and I know it seems complicated, but if you can sum up a little bit of all these four things, we know that you'll be standing out, separating yourself in the application process. Apply with your very best self. I tell people all the time, if you were to run for office, you're going to give your best self in every situation. You're going to talk about what you did in the community. You're going to talk about your academics. You're going to talk about your personality and what you bring, what you've done to persevere. That same mindset is the same mindset you put into completing your application. You want to take your time and think about your application in its totality. You don't want to rush because this is your one shot to show Morehouse what you bring to the table. And if you have one shot to do something, you want to make it count. You want to seek recommenders that are just saying, not saying you're a good student. You want to have recommenders that are saying you're the best student ever. They are shouting for the rooftops that they love you, they adore you, and that you will be a change agent at Morehouse College. If your recommender can't do that, find another recommender. You want to speak to your parents about your school choices and really take in their opinion on what they think would be best. Sometimes as young people, you may not want to take in everything your parents say, but their wisdom is incredibly important. And through the college admissions process, we in admissions believe that having your parents be partners in this process, given that they've known you all your life, is important, you making sound decisions through the process. So take the time to listen to your parents' opinion. Consider the cost of college and be determined to win. And what that means is every school is going to cost something. And you may get to a point where you're saying, wow, this may be too much. We want you to fight through that, find scholarships, take advantage of opportunities to make sure to find what you need and prepare yourself for that cost. From a parent perspective, it may be making sure to get your financial aid process done, making sure tax returns are in place, making sure that you're helping your son be able to know about the different scholarships that are available so that you're not waiting to the last minute. You're helping them through the process to find the scholarships they need to make their dream of going Morehouse a reality. Set up office hours with your guidance counselor. I tell students all the time, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So what that means is you want to meet with the people that are influencing your application, the person that's writing those recommendations, the person that's sending the transcripts. Take the time to meet with them on a regular basis. And if you can't set up a regular meeting, make sure you go by their counselor office as many times as you can so they know who you are, what you're about, and more importantly, it's important that every teacher and counselor know that you care about your college education and where you're going for the next step in your life. And the only person that can help you understand that and help anyone understand about you is you. It all matters. Your rigor of curriculum and the classes that you take, the fact that you're taking and getting the best grades you possibly can and keeping your GPA as high as it possibly can be. We want to see your grade trends not going downward. We want them to go upward. So if you started and you struggling your freshman year and you had to get back up your sophomore year, we want to see that. And then we want you to continue to go up and up your sophomore year, your junior year, and your senior year, like you're a rocket shooting for the stars. We want to see your grades and your GPA going up. We want to see all that going up, leading to you applying to Morehouse College. And then we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the opportunities that are available to you. So if you have to take college prep, you take those college prep classes. If there's honors available, challenge yourself and go for it. Remember, at Morehouse, we give you the weight for you challenging yourself academically and taking the harder classes. If AP is available, go for it. If you're in an IB curriculum, see if you can get into the program. If your school doesn't offer any of those things, try to go to a community college, take one or two classes to show us that you care about pushing yourself academically. All these things above play into how colleges read your application, your transcripts, and everything that you offer. At Morehouse, we want you to make sure that you shine. Shine as bright as you can be so that we can see your light shine in your application. Let's talk a little bit about some of our special programs here at Morehouse. And we offer tons of unique programs that help you grow, to lead, and excel on and off campus. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of those programs that help shape your experience and your legacy while at the house. So number one, we have our honors program that many students can apply into and get accepted into. That program offers leadership development, academic classes that are with specific faculty member here at Morehouse, and research opportunities for students. We also have Army and Navy ROTC. So for those students that are involved in those pieces and those organizations while they're in high school, you can continue that process while you're at Morehouse. If you see yourself as going into the military and serving your country, Morehouse is a great place and has a storied history of having people participate in that and alums having great careers in the armed services. We also has the House of Funk Marching Band. Yes, indeed, we almost had close to almost 80 folks in our band at one point in Morehouse history. And we're always looking for students that want to perform, that were in band and want to come to Morehouse and continue to bring that great legacy of great funk music through our band at Morehouse College. We also have our world-renowned Glee Club that has performed internationally and nationally, has been on ABC, CBS, and also at our renowned Christmas concert right in MLK Chapel. So if you're a person that loves to sing and you'd love to be able to continue that love of singing at Morehouse, the Glee Club may be an exceptional opportunity for you to continue that at Morehouse College. At Morehouse, we also believe that we want our young men are well-traveled. And what that means is that we have a plethora of study abroad opportunities and global fellowships for you to participate in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, and beyond. At one point, we had one Rhodes Scholar that actually was a finalist for the Rhodes Scholar, and he actually was fluent in Mandarin Chinese and spoke Mandarin Chinese during his interview for the Rhodes Scholarship. He was able to do that because of the exceptional professors at our campus, but also from his international programs and study abroad programs that he was able to take advantage of while at Morehouse. And then last but not least, we have athletics. We're NCAA Division II sports. And through that, we build brotherhood, discipline, and school pride. And we have a plethora of different organizations. And matter of fact, my counterpart, Alvin Conte, is one of the leads and liaisons with athletics at Morehouse College in the admissions office. Morehouse and beyond. We wanted to talk a little bit about what's beyond after you graduate. What are the things that you can look forward to? So, of course, you have a global learning and study abroad. We have prestigious internships and fellowships all across the country. As I had mentioned before, we actually had one of the largest number of Rhodes Scholars of any HBCU in the country. We've had Marshall Scholars and Truman Scholars at Morehouse College. Research opportunity and innovation all throughout the country from partner organizations and schools like NCAD and Georgia Tech and Harvard. So our students are going everywhere to take advantage of research opportunities. Leadership to development a galore. From the moment you step on our campus, we're trying to develop that leadership in you. And we have clubs and organizations to internships and externships that help you develop that leadership that you have inside. We have cultural and artistic expression opportunities through clubs and organizations, affiliated programs outside of our campus in the Metro Atlanta community and beyond. And of course, we have our networks and alumni access. Yes, Morehouse has 17,000 strong alumni all across the world, domestically and internationally. And if you become part of this fold in this community, you get to be part of that and take advantage of that wonderful alumni community. But this is the other thing we want to talk a little about. After you graduate from Morehouse, these are the types of employers that are coming to recruit students that graduate from our institution. They're coming from all across the country. Morehouse School of Medicine, Allstate, Accenture, Walt Disney, Amazon, Google, Deloitte, the CDC, Bank of America. This is just to name a few. And then our starting mean salary is up to $76,000. And our median salary is up to $80,000 for our graduates at Morehouse College. So students are coming out of Morehouse after they've completed their application, been admitted, gone through their 4 years, and they're getting recruited to some of the best organizations and businesses in the world. And this is something you can look forward to at Morehouse College. People always ask us, where are they going for grad school? Where are the places that our students are getting recruited to? And here are the some, just to name a few. Our students, after graduating from Morehouse, are going to Emory. They're going to UGA. But they're not stopping there. They're going to Columbia. They're going to Yale. They're going to Northwestern, Stanford, USC, NYU. Nothing is stopping our students to going to the best graduate programs. Our school is preparing you. The investment at Morehouse is preparing you, not only going into the workforce, but to get into some of the most prestigious graduate programs in the world. That's something you can look forward to should you decide to submit that application this year. And next, I want to talk a little bit about our recruitment team. Our recruiters are so excited to introduce themselves to you. We're beginning our travel plans, and we're going to be all across the country trying to meet you one-on-one to interact with your families. But we wanted to use this opportunity to talk about where they're covered, who our recruiters are, but where they're going, what areas they cover. So first, we're going to start off with Mr. Alvin Conte, our Associate Director of Admissions. He's going to be covering Arizona and California and several other states in the West Coast. Angela Cooley, our Assistant Director of International Admissions, she's going to be doing all of our international areas, including Hawaii, Guam, and Puerto Rico. Mr. Ja'Cory Bernard, who oversees our pre-collegiate options at Morehouse College, is going to be in Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and West Virginia. Mr. Darius Pearson, our Assistant Director of Admissions, will be in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. We're not done yet. We have Mr. Sean Burnett, our Assistant Director. He'll be covering the DMV, and he's also one of our leads for the great state, that's right, the Peach State of Georgia. Next is Mr. Stefan Harden, our undergraduate recruiter. He'll be going out to Colorado, Indiana, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, but he also has all these other states that you see listed, but also the great state of Texas. And then last but not least, Mr. Xavier McKenzie. He'll be covering many of our states like Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Vermont. So he's covering the majority of our East Coast territory. Now that we talked a little bit about where they're covering specifically, we wanted to offer you this amazing graphic that kind of tells you who's going where. So you see Alvin all waiting in the West Coast, Angela you see in the Puerto Rico and the islands and international. You have Stefan within the middle part of the United States. You got Ja'Cory that's in our upper Michigan area in Indiana. You have Darius that's covering all of the Mississippi and the deep South area, including Florida, South Carolina. You have the DMV covered by Sean Burnett. And then you have from Pennsylvania all the way to Maine being covered by Xavier McKenzie. All of these individuals, their information's on our website that you can contact them. But we wanted to take this opportunity to tell you where they were. And if you're in one of these areas, we encourage you to get to know your recruiter in your area and make sure to track where they're going. So maybe you can meet them while they're in your area during our travel season this fall semester. And on that note, we are done with our formal presentation and we want to open it up to Q&A. My colleague, Mr. Alvin Conte, will come back on and Ms. Candace Bazemore will facilitate any questions you have of us that we'll be able to answer about the admissions process.
First of all, thank you so much. You did such a great job presenting tonight. I love all the great information. I always get so excited hearing, everything that's to come for these students. But let's go ahead and jump into the Q&A. But before I get started, I did want to know if there are any events you'd like to spotlight, like open house or anything that's coming up that you'd like to tell people about.
Oh, we have two major events. So if there are any school counselors that are on the call, we do have our counselor symposium. I believe this is our third, maybe fourth. Sorry, I think it's our third year hosting our counselor symposium. And this is an opportunity for school counselors and access professionals to be able to come and visit Morehouse for a day. Yes, right. We host you. And we give you an opportunity to learn about Morehouse, hear from our faculty, hear from our students, tour campus, and learn everything that you need to know so that you can go back and be armed to explain all the intricacies of our admissions process to prospective students and families. But more importantly, we believe this program gives counselors the opportunity to really be a champion of Morehouse and HBCUs by letting people know more about what HBCUs have to offer, but more importantly, what Morehouse has to offer prospective students. So definitely our counselor symposium, we want to make sure that you're aware of and invite all school counselors, school administrators, and access professionals to come to our counselor symposium. The program's also something where you don't pay for it. You may pay to come, but you don't have to pay to participate or to register. So it's free of charge. And I know in our chat, we actually posted the information about that and the link. So if you do have interest, please consider that. And then I'll let Alvin talk a little bit about our open house that's coming up.
So we will have our open house in the fall. It will be in the month of October. So if you've never visited Morehouse College and you want to get a on-campus view and experience of what it's like to be on our campus, meeting faculty, meeting staff, meeting current students, participating in student panels, and getting a taste of the Morehouse experience, definitely make sure that you register and participate in open house. I think the link for open house was just posted in the chat. So make sure you go ahead and register. This is, it's highly recommended for you for your top college choices. Make sure you set foot on that campus. And our open house is fantastic, and it's going to give you a fantastic feel to decide if Morehouse is the right place for you. So make sure you register for our open house.
Alvin, I could have said it better myself, but I also say this: if you step on a foot on our campus, I don't know, it may be the difference. You may not be thinking about any other school once you step, because that spirit starts flowing in you. You see the history, you see these buildings, you begin to understand what you're coming into, something bigger than yourself. So parents, be careful, because once you bring them, they may have more else on their mind the entire time after that. I promise you. So I think it'd be a great opportunity for everyone to participate. And if you have the opportunity to come to our open house.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and jump into these questions because we got a bunch of them coming in. We have over 100 people that are on this webinar right now. So the questions are coming in. So the first one is, how important is the personal statement compared to everything else in the application?
I'll jump into that, but Alvin, I know you're going to correct me if I'm wrong or add something to it. But I would describe the personal statement as something that could be the difference between being admitted and denied, or the difference between a student being waitlisted or deferred. I think it's something that could push you over the top. And so I tell students all the time, put the time into your personal statement. I don't think it needs to be perfect, but it needs to show that you really put thought and care into what you're saying and what you're saying about yourself. But I've seen a personal statement be the difference between a student getting admitted, getting waitlisted. But I've also seen that personal statement be the difference between a student getting admitted and then getting considered for a scholarship. So I do think it's very important in our process.
And that statement is also extremely important because it's a way for you to stand out and highlight what is special about you in this application process. Our application process is extremely competitive. So if you have the fantastic GPA and you have the academic rigor and strong extracurriculars, but if you don't show us what makes you stand out as a person, your character, your leadership ability, and what is special about you, you don't want to fade back and be another face in the crowd. So make sure that you put some thought into that personal statement and highlight what is special about you. Everybody on this call and everybody on this who applies to Morehouse has something that is different about them than any other person on this earth. So make sure you highlight that in that statement.
I would also just add, Morehouse right now, we do not offer interviews. So if you take a step back and you think about that, what's the best way for us to understand you as a person? It's going to be your personal statement, because a transcript is just a transcript, right? Your extracurricular activities are just a listing of the things that you're involved in. But that personal statement, that tells us about you. And the only person that controls what we learn about you is you, but through your personal statement.
I couldn't agree more. I will add one other thing too that people might not know is, especially in this age of, people using AI in order to polish up statements, that we don't frown upon that, right? But what I will say is, a lot of times students will, because they're applying to multiple schools. I don't know why they would apply to anybody other than Morehouse, right? But they do apply to other schools and they use similar statements over and over again. We don't take it personally, but we do suggest that you make sure that you are checking to make sure that the right school is in your personal statement. So this is a reminder. I don't know if you guys want to speak to that real quick, but
I have seen once in a blue moon that a student referenced another institution in their statement to Morehouse. I would not want that to be you. So I would suggest taking the time to dot every I and cross every T before you submit that statement. And more importantly, to make sure that it's going to the correct school.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Next question. How is the engineering and cybersecurity programs at Morehouse?
Alvin, I'll let you take that one.
Oh, our biggest or our most known engineering program is our 3-tool dual degree engineering program. And that is composed of you starting at Morehouse and completing a 3-year curriculum in either general science, physics, mathematics, or chemistry. Once you complete that 3-year curriculum, you would transfer to one of our engineering partner institutions to complete your engineering curriculum. Some of our top engineering partner institutions are Georgia Tech, which is also located in Atlanta, University of Michigan, University of Chicago. So once completion of that 2-year engineering curriculum at our engineering partner institution, on completion of the total of 5 years, you would earn a bachelor's degree from both of those institutions. So our 3-tool dual degree programs have become one of our most popular and one of our most notable and one of our most competitive programs at Morehouse. And Morehouse also sends sends the most African-American men to go on and earn PhDs in STEM fields. So our engineering program is top-notch, and it's going to prepare you for a career in any field of engineering that you're interested in, and it's going to put you at the top if you're trying to go on to graduate school.
All right, excellent. Is there more to complete after I finish a Common App application for Morehouse?
Go ahead, Alvin.
So, so let me go back to what I talked about in terms of the application process. First of all, make sure that you are logging into your application portal, your Common App application portal, and check and make sure that we have received all of your required application materials. Again, we cannot render a decision, review your application and render a decision until all required materials have been submitted. So make sure you are doing that, and please make sure you are checking your email and make sure you're logging into your application portal on a consistent basis. You have a live view of what we have received. So there should not be a situation where you're confused or you don't know what has been submitted. So once you have completed that application checklist, that will render your application to be eligible to be reviewed. Or on our side, we call that going into first read. So that tells us that we can actually start reviewing your application. So make sure you're checking out your application checklist and all those materials have been submitted, and you can do that on your own via your Common App application portal.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And then is there a place to indicate family legacy as part of the application process? My son will be a third generation, shout out, generation legacy. Also, Jack and Jill, can that be indicated on the application as well? First of all, this person is hitting all the top notes over here. Checking
They
all
were
the
not playing
boxes.
around it. I think they were listening through the whole presentation. They said, I got this one. So I'll take that one, Alvin, if you're okay with that one. So
Yeah.
we do not factor in legacy in our admissions process. I want to make sure that folks do know that. However, in our application, there is a place where you can put down that you are a legacy. And as it relates to Jack and Jill, if you're involved in Jack and Jill, we'll be able to see that through your listing of your extracurricular activities and your leadership involvement. So even though there may not be a specific piece where being a member of any of these organizations or your being a legacy factor into our traditional process, it is something that you can put down that we can see and that we're aware of as we're reviewing your application. Hopefully that answers that question.
I think so. I think you covered everything as well. Okay, so the next question. What is the likelihood of admissions if EA is deferred to regular decision?
Go ahead, Alvin. I'll let you take a stab at that one. Go ahead, Alvin. Go
So
ahead.
what I always tell students is that if you are deferred, the battle is just started, and you have a ability to help control your own destiny. And the way you can do that is staying in contact and making sure that if you have any additions to your application file, whether it be another letter of recommendation, you have an updated transcript that denotes increasing your GPA, you received a recent award, academic award, or something that can make your application file stronger. You have the ability to get that updated, so you will make your candidacy even stronger. If you receive a test score and your SAT or ACT improves, that is another opportunity for you to strengthen your application and strengthen your argument. So again, it is in your hands. If you are deferred, do not give up. And again, this kinds of shows us your demonstrated interest, and it shows us how bad you want it. So make sure that you are very active and make sure you're very proactive in terms of strengthening your argument if there's a situation that you're deferred. Deferred does not mean denied. That means you have some additional time to strengthen your argument.
I was gonna say something, but Alvin took my line. He took it right there. He said, "Deferred does not mean denied, and you don't give up." I agree with him wholeheartedly. There's so many different ways that you can show what you're up to, your character, additional recommendation, everything that Alvin said. Those are all on the table, but it's up to you to be proactive and put it out there, and to show us what else you're bringing to the table that can make us say, hey, we need to take a second look at this student, which I can honestly say my team and our team in admissions has done that. They have said, hey, wait, this student submitted this information here. They're involved in this. And we've gone back and looked at that student that has factored into making a final decision. And Alvin has been one of the champions, I can honestly say that, in our office that has done that for students. So if you're deferred, do not rest in your laurels. Keep on pushing. Stay in touch with your assigned recruiter and let them know what's going on to strengthen your application.
I would also add to that. It kind of goes with this. It hasn't been asked yet, but I know we have in the last couple of years had wait lists. this is sort of in the same topic. Wait list doesn't always mean you won't make it in either. There are a few people who make it off the wait list, not a lot, but I don't know if you guys want to talk about that too while we're talking about this.
So we have had some years that we did not go to the wait list at all, and we were done by May 1. Done. But then we've had a year where we actually did go to the wait list. And there were students that were waitlisted and they had an opportunity to send us additional information and all those things. And we had students that were admitted to the college off the wait list. It varies from year to year, but it depends on where the school is at, where we are with our class, and what the needs are for that particular year. So if a student's wait list all is not lost, there is a possibility that you can get admitted to college off the wait list. Is it a large number? In my experience, no. But for those select few that are there and that have pushed and done what they need to do extra, we have admitted students off the wait list.
Yeah. But the key is, like you always say, apply early, right?
Yes, the early bird catches the worm. And I think just to give in context, I think it's important. We are hovering around 10,000 applications, and we only have room for 650 first-time freshmen. So if you're looking at those numbers, you're saying, wow, how are we able to get all these people? And our application number is predicted to grow. So, but our freshman number doesn't seem like that's changing at this point, from my understanding. So we have a finite number of freshmen that you can bring in, finite number of classes and housing that it's available, because Morehouse wants to make sure that those students are getting the individual attention, the classes that they need, and we're maintaining our class sizes as a small liberal arts college. So, but the demand is growing. So the key is the earlier you apply, the more you're demonstrating that you want to be here, and the more that strengthens your consideration for a spot, because each spot is so highly coveted. So that's why we really push the early, because we know so many young men across the country and internationally that are fighting for a spot. So we need to know that this is a place and this is an opportunity that you truly want. And early action and early decision demonstrate that to us at Morehouse.
Okay, cool. And I guess once you get in, you want to pay for it. So the next question is about when will the Bonner and other financial aid and scholarship programs open?
So first and foremost, at Morehouse, your application gets you considered for scholarship. So through the review of your application, our recruiters actually recommend students for scholarship consideration. That's number one. Number two, students can get considered for scholarship consideration actually based on their GPA band and where they stand in their GPA. So even the application in and of itself, you can directly get considered for scholarship dollars. After that, there is an application process that we have that becomes open to all students that have applied through something called Academic Works. And through submission of that application, students are actually considered for all institutional scholarships at the college. Then beyond that, you have the Bonner, the Oprah, the Stamps, other scholarships, where they will then communicate when those scholarships are open, and their points of contact will then communicate with our recently admitted students that the application portal is open for you to apply, and then you can then apply for those scholarships. And then beyond that, you have your scholarship.com, your fastweb.com, which are search engines that you can create a profile on your own to get scholarships sent your way. And those are offered to all students, be you an HBCU student or going to a PWI. And then you have HBCU-based search engines and organizations like Thurgood Marshall, like the United Negro College Fund, like Tom Joyner Foundation, that are specifically geared towards students that want to attend HBCUs. So if you think about what I just described, there's about 5 different layers of scholarship opportunities throughout the process of applying to Morehouse and after you've been admitted, that you can either apply for or create profiles so you can get in consideration for a variety of scholarships that will go towards your cost of attendance.
Good. That's good. That's a great call outs. So along the lines of making sure that they are putting their best foot forward, this question is about, can additional letters of recommendation be submitted on an applicant's behalf, e.g. from alumni?
Most definitely. We often will have alums who will submit letters of recommendation, and this also goes back to establishing a relationship with your recruiter. You can, if you've identified or know exactly who the recruiter for your territory is, you can have that recommender submit a recommendation on your behalf. And once that recommendation is received by your recommender to your recruiter, we can actually add it to your application file. So yes, what the minimum recommendations required is 2, but I've seen students have 10, 11 recommendations submitted on their behalf. So again, in terms of the recommendation, it's very important. You want, aside from, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So you want detailed recommendations submitted on your behalf where people know you, they can speak on you in detail and specifically speak about your academic ability, your character, and your leadership ability.
And Alvin, that is true that we've had people send to 2 minimum to 10, but we've also seen people send portfolios to all of our recruitment staff on a particular young man's accomplishments and achievements, including pictures, videos, links to websites. We've seen people gone all out to make sure they knew or that we knew what they could bring to the table. Now, I'm not saying you need to do that. That's not what I'm saying, although we will accept it and we will put it on our tester and check it out. But I say that to say that if you're trying to advocate for yourself and you want to get an additional recommendation in there to help talk about a young man, Morehouse will allow you to do that. And we'll do our best to make sure to read through that so we have a great context of what a student has to offer the institution.
Okay. And then do you accept ACT, SAT super scores?
Yes, we do super score. We're not like other institutions that super duper score. We're not a super duper score school, but we do accept your super score, your best score in either one of the sections. And again, we're test optional, but we do see the scores. And so in some instances with scholarships, as Alvin had talked about during the presentation, there are some scholarships that require standardized test scores and some programs that we have at Morehouse that require standardized test scores. So I do still think it's important to take it and sit for it should you like to. And we do accept both the ACT and the SAT.
Okay, cool. If you use the Common Black College app, will your counselor submit the official transcript through that app, or will you receive access to a Morehouse portal to submit transcripts and recommendation forms?
So students can use our Morehouse portals to submit their recommendation forms, and we actually prefer that because it goes straight into our system. So you can use the Black Common app and we will feed in everything from that application. But if you're trying to get individual recommendations, transcripts submitted, please go to our admissions portal and submit it that way. And the reason why is because if you submit it that way, once it's submitted and it's logged in and appropriately attributed, you'll be able to see it directly checked off in your application status check. And I think most people on this call want to know, once I submit it, I want to see that that check mark is off. Well, the portal allows you to get that to happen. Whereas if you go by other means or sending it as an attachment via email, it may take a little bit longer to get there. Whereas if you use the portal, it pretty much within 24 to 48 hours, I believe, it will check that off and you'll know that it's in.
No, that's great. That's a great call out. If you're applying through the Common Black College app, would this be all the same since the Common app is a bit different from the Morehouse application? How does it vary?
Well, there are some small parts that are different in the Black Common App because they're all different applications, so they're gonna have different nuances to what they offer. But we've done a good job under Candace's leadership and her team to make sure that all those configurations are flowing appropriately into the appropriate fields, so that when you submit it, it's coming in kind of very similar to the way that all the information is coming in from our Morehouse application and our Common application. So I would not worry about that. Fill it out as best you can. If something's missing, you can always email our office and we'll make sure to see what we can do to help it, help your documentation get in. But submit it as best you can and then use the other portals to submit the other supplemental documents. If you go that route, I think you'll be just fine.
Great. What is the process for applying to the honors program? And can I apply for the honors college through the Common app?
So
I'll jump on that. So there is a separate application process for the honors program, the Howard Thurman honors program. And you cannot apply for that through the Common app. So you have to be admitted into Morehouse College first. And once you're admitted, you will gain access, or you can apply for the Howard Thurman Honors College. But you have to be admitted to the college first. and then take the next step of applying separately to the Howard Thurman Honors College. That is a separate application process handled by that office and that department.
All right, great. How can students contact recruiters assigned to their home state?
So you would go to morehouse.edu, go to our admissions site, you would say contact us, and our page should come up with the images of our recruiters along with the email address that you can connect to them with. So it's pretty easy. Those images that you saw during our presentation, those are the same images you're going to see on our admissions webpage. And then you'll have access to email them accordingly, and reach out to them and build that rapport throughout the admissions process this fall.
That's a great answer, Des.
Okay.
My team manages the website, so I was like, he got it. That's great. Okay. All right. My school shut down. That's an interesting question. My school shut down, so I had to transfer. But one of my old teachers wrote a letter of advance, or I guess they want to know how they could submit that.
So you can submit your letter through admission documents at morehouse.edu. They would just need to put your first, last name, your birth date, that really identifies who you are, so we can track you in the system and make sure to appropriately put you in there. Because you may have students that have the same name or a similar name or a different variation. So we need something that is an identifier outside of your social security number that will appropriately identify you, so that we can then be able to then put that document into the file, into your application.
Okay. And this is the one for Alvin, I would think. Would being an athlete up my chances of being accepted? And if so, who would I contact about that?
So the first process, if you are a student athlete and interested in participating in athletics at Morehouse, is if you go to the Morehouse Athletics website, morehouseathletics.com, there is a interest form for prospective student athletes. Complete that form and submit that form. So we'll go to our coaching staff. You can also, all of our coaching staff's contact information is located on the morehouseathletics.com website. You can also reach out to me, and I can provide you the recruitment context for all of our varsity sports, which are football, basketball, baseball, track, cross country, and golf. So I can provide you the recruitment contact for each sport. And more importantly, I can also provide you the information you need to send in the email to that coach. So information such as obviously the sports you play, your positions, if it's track related, your events, your times. And most importantly, make sure if you're sending an email to a coach, make sure you include some game film. That is extremely important. Our coaches want to see you perform. They want to see you in action. So that is a definite requirement when you reach out to one of our coaches. So our coaches control the athlete recruitment process. So they run that. They also control the athletic scholarship process. But I am happy to help put you in contact with one of our coaches so that process can begin.
And just one other thing, I know you're very passionate about this part, but I know you speak a lot about the fact that, although we recruit athletes, we're trying to, develop the whole student. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Most definitely. I mean, a student athlete at Morehouse is a student first. As a population, our student athletes have one of the highest group GPAs of any student organization or student group on this campus. Our baseball team has the highest cumulative GPA of any sport on our campus. So that is a requirement at Morehouse. Obviously, we look for students who can perform on the diamond, on the field, on the court, but we also need you to perform in the classroom. Our athletic director, Harold Ellis, one of his favorite quotes is 4 for 40. And that quote is 4 years at Morehouse, and once you leave Morehouse and graduate, you're going to continue to give back and perform in your community, perform in your career, perform in all parts of your life for the next 40 years or for the rest of your life. So we look for students who are going to take the most or get the most of that out of their Morehouse experience as a student athlete.
Thank you. And so the next question is about another program. Some schools may offer room and board with ROTC. Does Morehouse offer room and board if the military covers the tuition from ROTC? Oh, you're muted.
Alvin, I was saying I'd let you take that, but since I kind of put myself out there, I'll take it. So, if you're getting military benefits, there's a specific person that you liaison with on our campus that then gets applied to your account, and and what the benefit that you're getting would go towards cost of attendance and tuition being covered. What I would say is you would contact your financial aid professional on our campus to talk about what it all entails and what it can cover. I would hate to misinform, but I think we have professionals on our campus that once you meet with our liaison that deals with folks that are coming from families that have these wonderful benefits, they'd be able to explain what it then covers. And I would want you to make sure to talk to the most appropriate person on our campus to make sure that you know clearly what it offers and covers so you can plan for that as your son matriculates to the college.
Yes, Des. And our military certifying official is based in our registrar's office. So if you can send an email to records@morehouse.edu and they can get that process started. If you have military benefits, how those benefits can be accessed at Morehouse College. Again, that's through our registrar's office, and that email is records@morehouse.edu.
All right, cool. This is an interesting question. My son's school does not give an extra point for accelerated classes. Example, an IB class of a B would be a 3.3, not a 4 points. How do you all account for that?
So generally, what we say is if a school, any weight that the school offers, we're going to honor. So what that translates into is that if you get a weight and it pushes it up, we're going to take the weight that's offered in your cumulative GPA with that weight, no matter how much it is. So why is that important? It's important because there are some schools that will only look at your grade and will not count the weight when they're reviewing your application for admissions. And at Morehouse, we want to honor the weight because you chose to take a more rigorous class. So I hope this answers the question. It's not about per se that it's going to go up by 4. It's that we're going to honor it. And if your son's overall GPA would have been a 3.2, but with the 3.3 or that extra weight that he did get, it brings it to a 3.6. We're looking at 3.6 for admissions purposes. So it doesn't hurt your son no matter what they get. Any weight that they get is going to benefit them in our process because we respect the fact that they chose to challenge themselves.
Yeah. Also, too, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit about the fact that it isn't the GPA alone does not get you into Morehouse, right?
No, I mean, it's a very important factor. Let me not
Mhm.
take away from that. But it's one of many things that we look at, and we have a point system in our process at Morehouse. That in each one of the key factors in terms of leadership, extracurricular activities, letters of recommendation, your grade point average, rigor of curriculum, each one gets a certain set of points. So a student, just to give an example, could have a really high GPA, but in all the other areas, they did not properly demonstrate their exceptionality in that area. They could get a lower score in each one of those areas. So they could look like a great student, but overall in their application, they get a lower score, which leads to them getting, say, maybe waitlisted or deferred. Conversely, a student has a high GPA, but they're maxing out everything. Their personal statement is phenomenal. It pushes them to get the maximum score in all 5 areas, which increases their likelihood of not only getting admitted, but then also getting considered for scholarships. That's why when we took the time to explain the process of all the different pieces of the application process, we were intentional in explaining that each one mattered because each score is what betters your chance of being as selective and as highly ranked as possible in our admissions process. In other words, we have a holistic process.
Yes.
You can't fake the funk and just say I'm a great student, but your grades, your test scores, your leadership is not there. We want to see that it's all there and that it's equal across the board, which allows us to then say, hey, but the other piece is this: say your GPA is not as high, but you have a phenomenal letters of recommendation. You have an amazing story in your personal statement. Those things may be able to make up for that GPA being a little bit lower, and a student may have a chance to possibly get admitted because all the other areas were so exceptional. So that's why it's so important to give your best in submitting your application because you don't know which area may be the deciding factor in pushing you over the top or in some cases, it may push you away from reaching your ultimate goal of being admitted. Give your best in all the areas as much as you possibly can.
Good points. Great points. This next question is specifically for Alvin, because someone was paying attention to the map. So, will Mr. Alvin come to the Bay Area in California?
Oh, yes, yes, it is definitely on our travel list. I definitely will be in the Bay Area this fall. Please reach out to me if there and if your school is interested in having me come out to visit your school and provide an information session, speak to your student group. I know a lot of schools out there will have minority organizations that I often will meet with to speak about Morehouse and provide an information session. So please reach out to me, and I would love to visit your school while I'm visiting the Bay Area. And the Bay Area is obviously we get a lot of students from the Bay. Obviously Southern California as well, but California is one of our most fertile recruitment grounds. So I visit California every year, and we get some of our top students from the Bay Area. So please reach out to me. I would love to visit your school.
And on the subject of visits, I'm going to combine these two questions. Somebody is also asking how they can connect with the recruiter coming to Connecticut. And then the second part question was, how can I get in contact with our local admissions recruiter?
So again, you would go to our website and contact admissions, and the recruiter face, likeness, and image, of course, and then their email address will be offered there, and you can email them directly. We pride ourselves in our customer service, building rapport with our students, counselors, school administrators, alumni that are in the area that are passionate about getting the best students to Morehouse. We work with you guys. We also are very involved in our alumni association, and they are very involved in our recruitment process and finding students and helping us with covering fairs or visiting schools in different capacities. And so we try to do our best to make sure that we're getting to all the areas. But the best way to connect is via email and reaching directly out to that recruiter and letting them know. We also will be attending several NACAC fairs in certain cities. And then we'll also, within the state of Georgia, we'll be going to certain fairs within the state of Georgia. But as Alvin said, we've had students that were that passionate about Morehouse. They reached out to their school counselor and said, can you connect with Morehouse? Because I have interest in Morehouse, and I'm not seeing that on your list. Advocate. Let your counselor know that Morehouse is your school. If they reach out to us, they tell us a young man, even if it's just one young man, is saying they want to hear from someone from Morehouse, we will respond. And we will do our best to connect with you or set something up with your school to do a virtual session if we can't come in person. But we'll try to do our best to connect if we see that passion from you, and we can fit it into our schedule.
Okay. And so this is a great question. I've heard Morehouse has a great education program. What makes it stand out among other HBCUs?
I'll let you go out. Brother, go ahead.
So that is an excellent question. Our education program is top notch. In the past, the education program was actually moderated or went through Spelman College, but we actually developed our own education program, and we developed teachers who are starting and getting job opportunities, where student teachers, while they're students at Morehouse, and going on to educational opportunities, whether it be in the classroom or in research, all across the country, all across the world. So we're very proud of our education program, and definitely, if you go to our website, morehouse.edu, and you can get a breakdown of our education program, the curriculum, our faculty, and just to get an idea of what that program entails. So please visit our website at morehouse.edu, go to our majors list, and you can get a breakdown of our education program and the structure, faculty and staff, and the type of experiences you would receive if you are an education major on our campus.
And while you're on this topic, we have a couple of questions that are related specifically to programs. But the first one, which is sort of more blanket, is, what are the most popular programs or majors at Morehouse?
I think we could double team this, Alvin, but I believe biology, political science, computer science is very popular as well. business, of course. Um, those are the ones that I think stand out the most to me as being probably the most popular at the college at this time.
So yeah,
Alvin, if I'm missing anyone, feel free to add in.
no, you did a great job. Business administration is definitely one of our top programs. Morehouse sends the most African American men to Harvard Business School every year. Um, our journalism program has become very popular at Morehouse, where we're sending our students to work with sports entities such as CNN, ESPN, working for sports leagues. Also our film program, and our film program is Cinema, Television, and Emerging Media Studies. Recently was named one of the top film schools in the country. So our film program is excellent and has definitely been noted as area where you can also have opportunities at some of the top internships in the film industry. Also being based with Morehouse being Atlanta, we have connections with the film studios here in Atlanta as well. So our film program will provide you an excellent opportunity to go on for a long career in the film industry. So, but yeah, Des, you noted our top ones, but I definitely want to highlight some of our additional programs that have gained national fanfare and respect in terms of the top academic programs at Morehouse College.
I was gonna say also to we have very, very notable alumni in those areas, Oscar winners,
Mhm.
Emmy winners, Grammy winners, who have, educated right here on these grounds. So and you actually don't know who you might bump into. I've been on campus and bumped into, Spike Lee, Samuel L. Jackson. I think the first week I was here, there was a pop-up where, just, I guess, Will Smith was hanging out with Tyler Perry. They decided to just come over and talk to the students here. So that's one thing that's unique to Atlanta is there's things always filming here. There's always, top talent here. You just never know who will walk through those doors to drop some wisdom or looking for people to intern or work on future projects. So it's pretty cool. So the other program question was a question about, are there any programs for animal science or pre-vet? And then there's a couple questions about the, how does our theater program compare to others? And do we have any scholarships for the choir or glee club? A
So
lot of
I think we'll have
program
to,
questions.
because that was a lot thrown in, but it's okay.
Yep.
So I believe that the Glee Club does have a scholarship, but it's something
Mhm.
that goes through the Glee Club directly, so you'd have to audition. And I know that during our admitted student weekend, we normally do offer opportunities for students that have been admitted to audition during that time. And then they would then facilitate that conversation regarding scholarship opportunities. You had said, was it pre-vet? I'm just trying to make sure to remember.
Pre-vet, yeah. Hmm.
So Morehouse does
Or
not
animal
have,
science.
sorry, Morehouse does not have an animal science program, but students can major in a variety of different science-based majors. And what you do is you actually work with your advisor to say, hey, I'm trying to go pre-vet. My goal is to go to veterinary school,
Mhm.
and then advise you on the courses that were necessary for you to be a competitive applicant to that particular school. Same thing with pre-med, same thing with students that are thinking about going to law school or graduate programs. You meet with your advisor, let them know your intentions, what you're trying to accomplish, and then they would then work with you
Yeah, I
to
will
make
also
sure
note
that
too
you're
that
taking
the
it. Sorry,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm sorry. I learned this one the other day at the faculty retreat. And we offer the ability for students to participate in undergraduate research. So I mean they could, so as a freshman, you could become a published member of a research project. So those things help you too as you go on to your graduate programs as well. So to help you stand out and be help you be more enticing to those programs that they're selecting for their classes.
And the other thing I was add is that those students that are part of our honors program, there's a specific honors program curriculum with specific faculty that teach honors courses. And with embedded in that curriculum are opportunities for research and undergraduate research and all those pieces. But I think the key is we're a liberal arts institution for a reason. We believe in students being able to be in a plethora of different things in terms of helping their learning and development and their critical thinking skills, but it's up to you as a student to really focus on what you have interest in. So you could be a double, triple major. I have a student that's an economics major, business major, and he's a psychology major. He has 3 different degrees that he'll be graduating with at Morehouse. And he's an international student coming from, I believe, Ivory Coast or Sierra Leone. So he's like he's done with his first 2 degrees. He's just finishing up the credit hours for his third. So I say that all to say is that nothing limits you but you. If there's something you're looking to do, all you need to do is ask, talk to that particular department, and they'll guide you on what you need to be able to get there and to get there in the right path, in the right timing for what you're trying to achieve while you're at the college.
Okay, cool. And you did mention the pre-law program, and there was another question about how does the pre-law program at Morehouse, what is it like? What does it consist of? But also, are there any law firms Morehouse has connections with, or do the professors have connections to law firms?
So right now at Morehouse, we do have a pre-law program where you can go into pretty much any degree and still be taking some of the courses. But within that program, they really focus on your writing ability, the different things that you need to do to really show that you're demonstrating critical thinking skills and your ability to write your thoughts. The other piece that they also do is they give you access to opportunities through our alumni network and through career services to give you exposure to the field of law. So I've seen several students do programs at Howard, at North Carolina Central, schools like Yale, Michigan, University of Virginia, University of Vermont, where those institutions are wanting to give students all across the country the opportunity to explore their passion and their potential for going into law. So several of our students take advantage of those sorts of activities and programs, and they use that as a conduit to really better understanding what they're getting themselves into when it comes to thinking about going to law school, or even getting a glimpse of what a law school experience may be like by being with a law professor that's kind of doing a semi course that may be taught in a Socratic method. And then there's opportunities for students to actually be able to be involved in organizations that have students be involved in the law in some way, shape, or form. So we have a award-winning debate organization and club and organization here at Morehouse that's actually taught by a professor that actually just really, I believe, recently got appointed to be a court in the state, to be a judge in the state of Georgia. So that kind of gives you a sense of the extracurricular activities that you get involved in related to the law, and then also some of the things that our faculty and career services can expose you to be able to do that. And then last but not least, we're Morehouse. So there's several graduates that have gone and pursue careers in the law. And they come back all the time offering internships, externships. Matter of fact, I was told the story of a Morehouse grad that went on to, I believe, I think he ended up going to Yale for law school. And when he ended up going to his firm that he's been in and now a partner, he partnered with another person in his firm to create an externship and a paid internship for students coming from HBCUs. And of course, he started the first iteration with a student coming from Morehouse College. So our alumni, our career services, our faculty and staff, all and the clubs and organizations all give you access and opportunities to explore your passion in the law.
And allow me to quickly add, if your goal is to go into a career in law, make sure once you come to Morehouse that you become a member of the Morehouse Spelman Pre-Law Society. They provide a variety of different activities. They also coordinate through our career engagement office for the law school and parent experience program, for internships. So make sure you, once you come to Morehouse and you're interested in focusing on law, that you become a member of the Morehouse Spelman Pre-Law Society.
Excellent. I do want to make sure, because I did combine a bunch of questions. One of those was about the theater program. How did it compare? So I don't want to make sure we missed that as a part of the question.
Alvin, I'll let you take that one. Go ahead.
So I will definitely say a lot of our students who go on to careers in acting fields will major in theater at Morehouse College. So where they be obviously start going back to Samuel Jackson, John David Washington. We've had many students who've come through our theater program who've gone on to prominent careers in acting fields. So, again, the Morehouse brand and a recognition of students who come from our institution who've for many years beyond have gone on to prominent careers in the acting field. So our theater program is top notch. And if you look up the amount of students who come through our theater program and gone on to careers, whether it be in cinema, being on the movie screen or television, or background careers or actually being on Broadway. We've had a lot of students come through our theater program and flourish in those careers.
Okay. And we have time for, I would say two more questions because we're really coming up on time. We're a little bit past it actually. But there's been so many questions coming through and the people are still on. So I just want to make sure we're covering as many as we can. The second to last question, if a student participates in the SMASH program at Morehouse and would like to continue their education at Morehouse and and being active in the software engineering program, should this be communicated on the application?
Oh, let me take this one, Daz.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So,
Mohammed.
so the SMASH program, Morehouse, as far as I know, is the only HBCU that has a SMASH program. So if you are a part of that SMASH program at your school or participate through Morehouse's SMASH program, you please add that as one of your extracurricular activities in your application file. Make sure that is highlighted. When I see SMASH program on the application, my eyes light up. That tells me that you are can be a top-notch candidate for the STEM programs at Morehouse College. So make sure you highlight that on your application, communicate that as many areas as possible, because that will definitely increase the value and will make you stand out in the application process.
Excellent. All right. So the last one is along the lines of how do you stand out, and so how long should the essay be? What should it be about? And does it matter if I'm a member of the National Honor Society?
Alvin, I think you want me to take it, so I'm going to take that one. Okay.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. Also, or a member of the National Society of High School Scholars, just in case that's a separate program. So sorry. Yeah, yeah.
what I would say is this: any selective organization or membership where you've been selected, or there was a process where you were selected, where you had to submit grades, test scores, recommendation letters, and you were selected out of a group of students to be able to participate, you definitely want to make sure to put that in your application. So that's not just the National Honor Society. That'd be for anything that you're applying for and that you were selected to participate, where there are some students that were selected and others that weren't. Number two, there is a cap on how many words you can have in your essay. So even if you wanted to put more, you couldn't, because you can't go past that cap, unfortunately. And what was the third question, Candace? What was the third?
The third question was, what should my essay be about?
And each essay and each application has a set of essay questions that we say, hey, this is the essay question that we want you to reply to. So even though you may want to talk about something else, you'll have to discuss that particular topic. Now, you can infuse some of the other things you want to talk about within the context of answering that specific essay question, but you still have to answer that particular question in that particular application. And we have our own Morehouse application essay question that you will have to respond to and then make sure to respond to in there. But again, if there's other things that you want to put in, most of our applications, I believe, have a special circumstances section. So if there's things that maybe your essay may not be able to tell, but there's things that you want to tell us that maybe those special circumstances, things that have happened with family, medical conditions, things of that sort that you think are important that your essay cannot explain, but you need to explain that to give context about who you are, what's happening with you and your family. Use that special circumstances section to add that information in there.
And the most important thing about your essay is you. So use their essay as an opportunity to highlight what is special about you. I don't want to, when I'm reading essays and when I'm reviewing applications, I don't want to hear you or read about a topic that you're interested in, or read about, something that does not highlight what is special about you. So make sure you use that as your opportunity. Again, the essay, you need to look at it as an opportunity. It's your opportunity to step up, to stand out, and to poke your chest out and say, hey, Morehouse should want me, and this is why. So make sure you take advantage of that opportunity.
That's really great. I will add one more thing too, because when people are trying to stand out, and I know that we get a lot of essays where kids reference COVID, right? but everybody went through it at the same time. So if you're referencing it because of something that happened to you, they need to explain, I guess, the uniqueness of how the experience impacted them. So I don't know if you guys want to touch on that as well.
Yes, I agree with that statement, Candace. You need to, whether you're writing about something negative that happened in your life, which obviously could have been COVID, but you need to find a way to highlight how the experience molded you, how you came on top of that experience, how you overcame that experience. So that is what we want to see within your essay. We read a lot of essays, obviously, of students who had difficult learning experiences or had some difficult issues during COVID, but highlight or show us how you overcame that experience or how you use that experience to become a better student, a better person, a better leader, a better part of your community. So make sure you flip that experience from maybe to a negative to a positive.
And I would just add this. I think the key thing that Alvin said is realizing that this whole application and everything that you're submitting is all about you. So no one can tell you or tell about you better than you. And so use the essay to really talk about it. Obviously, answer the question, but put the thought in there so that we can have a better understanding of your grit, your passion, your ability to overcome obstacles. That's your opportunity to talk about that because it's all about you. And the reality is that's what we want to talk about. That's what we want to learn about when reading your application. We don't want to learn about all the other stuff that other people are doing. We want to learn about what makes you tick, who you are. Because I tell people this all the time, every year we successfully graduate an entire class of seniors. But then our job is actually to successfully matriculate and to admit a group of incoming freshmen, right? And each one of those seniors made a part and stood out on our campus. But now we have the job to make sure that we bring in some students that can fill that gap that's now missing from them. You have to ask yourself, how am I making my application significant and strong enough that I can take that, fill that person's spot? And that's the way you should think about it. That's the way you should approach your application. They're getting ready to leave. I'm ready to take that spot. I'm ready. And I'm going to present the best application I know I can in order to take advantage of that opportunity. If you have that attitude, you're not only going to get into Morehouse, you're going to get in tons of schools, but hopefully you're going to land here because the doors of the house are open.
Look, what do we say? Morehouse has a crown waiting for you. You just need to step forward and join the brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. I also know you guys love to leave with some words of wisdom or some additional tidbits. Is there anything before we wrap up today, other than making sure people know that the link to register for open house is in the chat, and we've already had at least 10 people register while we were on this call who are participants. So make sure you take advantage of that link because seeing and experiencing Morehouse for yourself is the best way to go about it. But go ahead.
Alvin, I'll let you go. Go ahead, Alvin.
And so I'll quickly state that there are many colleges. Well, a college is designed to educate you, and you're going to get a top-notch education at Morehouse. But Morehouse is one of the few places where we're going to mold you. We're going to change you into a change maker, into a servant leader. You're going to become, again, the holistic approach. That is the type of student we look for on our campus. There's a reason why so many prominent leaders in every field of human endeavor have come to this institution in the West End in Atlanta, Georgia, and have gone on to change the world. That is the type of student that we're looking for. And if that is a type of experience that you want to have at the college of your choice, and you're looking more than just a top-notch education, you're looking for opportunity and a path that's going to mold you to be able to change the world, you need to come to Morehouse College.
Alvin, you made it real difficult for me to jump in after something like that. You just dropped it like it's hot, man. What I would just add is that we want students that are red hot, not lukewarm. We want students to have a burning desire to come to Morehouse, and they know in their bones that this is the place for them. Number two, we're looking for a student that's willing to give everything they got because we know that Morehouse is going to give everything we got to you. So we want you to match that energy by letting Morehouse run through you and taking advantage of all the opportunities that we have to offer. But the reason why I say both those things is that your application is what indicates to us if you're ready to take that on. It tells us whether or not you're lukewarm or red hot, but it also tells us if you got what it takes, the things that you've done both in and outside of the classroom to add to the legacy that you have an opportunity to join. So what I would say is we look forward to seeing your application because the doors of the house are open as of August 1. And the reason why we did this presentation is to make sure that you're armed with everything that you need to present the strongest application possible to fight for one of those spots that you believe in your heart that you deserve. And we want to make sure to give you everything that you need so that you can make sure to compete for one of those spots. I look forward to seeing some of these students in our application pool and reading the heart and the effort and the passion they put into their applications.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Alvin, Des, I appreciate you guys sharing such great wisdom with all the prospective students and their families and parents that have joined the call tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing those applications roll in and all the questions coming in and then all these bright shining faces showing up at the open house. All right. Thank y'all. Everyone have a good night.